So this video is about how to read for timing with the tarot. So timing is a really hard question. You definitely need to think about, is the future fixed? Do you believe in fate? Do you believe in destiny and things like that? Personally, I don't think the future's fixed. I think that we are picking up on likelihoods, intentions, patterns. We're understanding the past and we are extrapolating the most likely future. So, to me, any timing reading is going to have some essence of flexibility in there. There's lots of ways to look for timing, and I know a lot of readers talk about specific cards, meaning specific, excuse me, time frames. I don't use that. That feels really complicated to me, though I can see how it could work. And if it works for you, well, that is just great. For me, I use the spread. The spread and the question, I think, is the easiest way to get a sense of timing. So if I was doing a timing question for somebody, I would usually do two spreads. I may do more, but I'm going to demonstrate this for myself using two spreads to give you a feel of how it would work. So the first thing you need to do is you need to define your question and you need to put timing into the question. So I am considering collating my notes on shamanism and really focusing on getting another book out there. I suppose I should do a plug. I've just published my tarot book. You can access it via my website. There it is right there, as you can see. It's my actual desk. Or Amazon. There are a few stock issues on Amazon in the UK at this moment when I'm recording it, but do order it. It is there. There is going to be an ebook and it is available by my website as well. So I've quite enjoyed that process and I'm now considering collating a shaman book. So my question is, can I um, create a completed manuscript? See, the question's really, really important. This isn't published, this is create a finished manuscript on shamanism by the end of June. Bearing in mind it's basically the end of May at the moment. So my timing is in the question. I'm going to run through this super quick. First three cards I did shuffle and prepare for this spread before videoing is where I am right now. Three of Wands, I've got the skill set, I've got the experience, I've got the knowledge, I've just published one book, so I'm quite comfortable with writing a book. But Five of Swords, my life is quite chaotic, and the Devil, I am holding myself back. I am giving myself reasons not to do this, and that feels right for me. I am self-sabotaging by not being organized enough. So the first three cards represent your situation as it stands right now, and you should, whether you're reading for yourself or a client, be able to validate this. Before you start looking at advice or the future, you should be able to validate the current situation. The next three cards are advice, really practical advice. Four of Swords, mental discipline. Yeah. The need to rest. I have a terrible habit of writing when I know I don't have the time to get into it and then getting angry with the process. So, this is about mental discipline, the need to write, the need to slow it down. Page of Pentacles, attention to detail. This is really accurate. I've started really drafting the flow of the book, and that is definitely helping to get my mindset in order. And the Ace of Swords, any project that is to do with writing or communicating, the Ace of Swords is an incredibly powerful card. But the Ace of Swords is having a very clear idea. And when I first started this project, it was very large, and I've definitely brought it down to I'm going to write a basic introduction to shamanics rather than a book that covers everything. The next row is the important row. This is outcome. So I am now reading for, is it possible to have collated a manuscript on shamanism by the end of June? And what you're reading for, depending on your question, you're reading, do these three cards give you a positive answer to your question? Well, the sun to me would be a yes. It is about confidence, exuberance, feeling safe. It's about shining. It is an incredibly positive card. The Seven of Pentacles is harvest. The Seven of Pentacles, to me, is about you've got what you need to succeed. Now, I didn't talk about a published book. I talked about a manuscript that could be published. So that to me feels really positive. The Seven of Cups to me is a card of dreams. I definitely want to write more about shamanics. That's exactly right. This is the starting point of a series. The card at the bottom of the pack, what do I need to know? Nine of Pentacles, being organised, financial success. It feels like a yes to me. So I have whipped through this super, super quickly to give you an idea of the flow. So the first thing I would do if a client came to me with a time frame is I would do an overall spread to get a feel for is what you want possible in the time frame that seems appropriate. So if somebody says to me, I want to move house and I want to know when I'm going to move house, I always ask the client, what's your time frame for that? And I know some tarot readers don't like any information from their client. I often do a first spread with no information. I usually do that. It depends on the client, usually. But after that, I like to know what is it you want to achieve and what is the time frame you want to achieve it in, because that allows me to use the frame of the spread to ask the question accurately. And sometimes clients are a bit like, oh, if you're any good, then you're going to know the question as well as the answer and such like. And, in that situation, I simply tell them, you don't need to give me any information. That's absolutely fine. But if you want me to be accurate and on point, then having some information so I can ask the question carefully and use the frame. I always think, the spread, I always think of the spread as the frame. From where am I now, usually with some practical advice, to most likely outcome. And I can be a lot more accurate if you give me some basic information. So that would be my starting point. My style of reading is to usually, I say usually because there is no such thing, and I'm reshuffling the cards. I suppose I should probably put that in camera. So used to shuffling, I never think about it. Probably tell I've been gardening. It's very, very muddy here today in the UK. Right. So I normally do lots and lots of small readings, and I am basically looking at the same problem from different angles. I'm not particularly comfortable shuffling whilst I'm filming, but hey ho. So once I've done that first spread, I then break it down. I'm going to do it week by week. And what you need to do, so I'm just going to really focus now on May and June. Now, I like to cut the cards. I really don't think you need to cut the cards. I think it's a case of what works best for you. When I cut the cards, I'm being super focused. It's almost like a full stop. I think when it comes to shuffling and cutting, what matters is that you have a regular habit that you repeat that works for you. You're very welcome to do it my way, but if you have a way that works for you, well, then that is more important than doing what somebody's told you to do. So really focusing on my book, really focusing on sort of the May-June time, putting the deck back together. So for this spread, we are breaking the time frame into manageable blocks. So I sometimes do, I rarely do a spread based on years because time does change. So years to me seems like usually too long, but there are occasions when it works. Sometimes I do days. Very often I do weeks or months of the year, or maybe even seasons. And it's the same spread, but just slightly different. So let's start with this week. It is, how is the week starting? So the Seven of Cups, that's actually spot on. That's why tarot blows my mind every time. That's actually absolutely spot on. I have really spent this week vision boarding the different chapters in my book. That's exactly what I've been doing. Advice, Seven of Pentacles. Really thinking about how much time I can invest in this, thinking about the financial balance, what's the best book to sell, and also thinking about how it's going to affect the rest of my business. Really thinking about that. By the end of the week, well, the Six of Wands is success, but the Six of Wands is also about feeling confident. So a sense that by the end of the week, I will have not a draft, but a draft outline that I feel confident with. So the beginning of June. Now, when I read, and I'm doing this blind now because I haven't seen these cards. I tied the cards together from different readings. So we've already had the sun as an outcome for the whole project. So it suggests to me now this is interesting. Next week's half term. So although I'm still working, I have less left lift duties to do, and I am planning to use my mornings to do the writing as I don't have lifts. So that would suggest that next week is a really good week to get focused. Boom, Knight of Wands next week, first week in June, lots and lots of energy going into this. By the end of the week, Three of Swords. Three of Swords is a good card in this question, actually, because Three of Swords is speaking honestly from the heart. So the need to really get lots of personal story into this book. Looking at the week after, and I am turning my diary because I cannot memorize the dates in my head. Situation, the Four of Cups, which is perhaps I need to take a break. It feels to me like I put a lot of effort in next week. I am aware the Three of Swords could be an emotional issue that takes me off task a little bit by the end of the week. Ace of Cups, I need the outcome really to work out. Queen of Cups. So it feels to me that the week after, I possibly need to block out some time for some personal stuff, for some family stuff. It feels like the beginning of next week is a really good time to get a lot of writing in, bearing in mind that the week after, there may be a little bit more going on. As I look at that week, and if I was doing this reading for myself, as I am, but if I wasn't recording it, I would be putting notes in my diary. I look at that week, I see one of my children's got 2 GCSEs that week. Might be a tough week. Week after, week beginning of the 13th. So it starts the week confident, lots going on, feeling quite together. The world. This feels like a good week to focus. So what I'm getting a sense of, if I just bring all of those down, is I've got a good writing. This week is a planning week. The week after, I get a lot done. The week after that, my personal life will probably get involved. Week beginning the 13th, I reckon I've nailed it by that week. That's ending on the 19th. Fantastic. That rings true for me because I do like to work hard and deep and long. The week after, the 10 of Wands, bit of writer's block, taken on too much. I do tend to have this exhaustion burnout cycle. And again, this feels like a week when I don't get much writing done, when I'm actually focusing more on family time and enjoying my life. So it feels to me that what I need is a pattern of planning, serious writing, personal family time, serious writing, the world, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles. I feel I can get the manuscript in a good shape by then, and boy, do I need to rest by the end of that. Card at the bottom of the pack, what do I need to know? Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands, very my card. I go for it hell for leather. I have 2 weeks of burnout and 2 weeks of high focus. I mean, just if we have a look at this, for outcome cards, the world is successful completion. The Ace of Pentacles is starting a new cycle. I could really see that as I've got the working manuscript and I'm now ready to move on to cover design, editing, and such like. So the two readings to me are saying very similar things. So I hope that's made sense. I'm just moving my diary so I can sit back on my chair again. How I read for timing is I use the question, can I achieve this by this time? And once I've got the time spread right, because don't forget, with that first spread, it may have said you're kidding, right? No. I mean, I happen to know that I've got most of the notes anyway. It is just collating. So if the first question is a no, then I'm gonna put all the cards back. I'm going to do the same question. I'm going to say, fair enough. What about August? Is that the right time frame? And I'm going to use the first spread to get the time frame right. And then the second spread is kind of situation, start of the week, or the month, or the season. Practical advice, what do I need to know about this? Always a good card to have. And where does it leave me at the end of the time frame? And what you're looking for, as I've got here, two very key cards for endings and beginnings, is where in this time flow spread do I feel I achieve what I am looking to achieve? And you're going to need to change your outcome. I mean, I would argue that the world and the Ace of Pentacles would be amazing outcome cards for lots of things that you want to achieve. But the outcome cards that you're looking for are going to change depending upon your question. So, if your question is a romance question, then maybe obviously the Ten of Cups, Four of Wands, Two of Cups, the Lovers, perhaps a combination of the right court cards up here, perhaps the Emperor and the Empress, matched pair. You're looking for the narrative, the story of the process leading to what looks like an appropriate achievement. So I hope that helps. It's really nice to be back on YouTube. I will be sharing another video super soon because quite a few people have asked for a bit more about the backstory of what's been going on. So I will be sharing a bit more about that. And if you've enjoyed the video, do comment and of course do subscribe.